Hello, thank you. Hello, my name is Pešić, and as you heard, I'm HR manager for Deloitte Serbia, but also for Macedonia, Montenegro, and Republic of Srpska. So today, I'm not going to talk about our practices in Deloitte, but I would like to show you some results of our survey that we are doing on a global level regarding the human capital trends. So I heard so far some quite interesting stories and some positive ones. Okay, during this, I would like to be a discussion. I hope that we can see where we are standing regarding the business, and are we actually doing the right job so we can gain the business goals. So, as presentation said, welcome to the new world of work. Some of, let's say, fun facts so far is that we have quite big barriers between work and life balance still. And I think that this gap has never been big as it is actually right now. On the other side, we have a huge attention put on the talents and how we are actually dealing with talents, where we can find the talents. And it's a little bit ironically because on the other side we have a high rate, especially in Serbia, with the unemployment of people. So are we have the right approach for finding talents, or organizations are not sure what they're actually expecting from people? And as we all know, and some of you have been mentioning that as well, millennials are coming. Currently, more than 50% of our employees in the companies are millennials, and they have quite a specific way of thinking. They have their own values, they have their own habits and approach to the work that we are working right now, and it is not quite similar to ours. And the fourth aspect is actually the global transparency in the job market, because we are so competitive in whatever industry we are working on. People are just quite often desired to change the jobs, you know. So it is quite often that you don't have people who are staying in the company more than 2 or 3 years. And that is a lot of resources and time and investment that we are putting in the people, but unfortunately they are leaving. So the global human capital trends, it is first time delivered in 2011, so this is the 5th year that we are dealing with it. We have opinion more than 3,000 business and HR leaders over the globe. As you can see, more than 100 countries, and we covered all industries and all size of companies. So we have small companies, startups, and on the other side, global and bigger, of course. So how we made the presentation is that we have 10 most important human capital trends for 2015, and we put it in the 4 main topics. So first one is leading, and on the higher level of everything is, of course, how we are dealing with the leadership and how we are dealing with the learning and development. After that is engagement, so we have culture and engagement, performance management, and workforce on demand. The second one is reinventing the HR, how HR is functioning in the companies, and do we use HR and people analytics, and how we can simplify the work. And the final one is reinventing people and data, and should we use more of HR technology tools instead of talents. So are we going to use machines so they can change our people? Here you can see the rankings of most important human capital trends that companies are currently thinking of. And later on I'm going to explain you how we came to these results. But as you can see, on the first 2 places we have culture and engagement and leadership. This is the 3rd year in a row that these 2 top priorities are in a high demand. And regarding the culture and engagement, we're all the time asking ourselves how we can engage people to do better their work, and how we can deal with their personal desires as well. So regarding the leadership, it is of course always about the millennials and how we can make new leaders from the millennials, but not only them, just to have, let's say, the same stage for each generations in the company, but we need to have different approaches to them. And learning and development, it is mentioned here in the terms that we need to approach to the different styles of learning and development. How do we do traditional trainings? Do we do workshops, or we do online trainings, and so on? And maybe for me, most interesting is reinventing the HR. Business leaders are asking us to completely change our perception of our job and how we are dealing with the talent issues. So in a way that we can approach to the business needs and fulfill the business goals. Regarding the performance management, what we are doing on a global level, and we are putting it down in Deloitte as well right now, is that we are going out of the evaluation process, but we are going more to the coaching process in the company. So we are not putting marks on the people, but encouraging them to be more critical on their own. And as you can see, the rest of it's more about simplifying work, less matrix structures, and how we are using actually analytics in our systems. So as I promised, so here you can see one very confusing slide, but I'm going to try to explain you what is it all about. So when we did the survey, we gave to all our participants two things to rank. How it is important, the trend that we are dealing with, and what is the readiness of the organization to deal with this issue. Okay, so if you can see the blue line, it is showing us how it is important something for the company and for the business goals that we want to achieve. And on the other side, the green one, it is showing us are we ready enough to deal with these issues. And unfortunately, for the most important topics, the gap is the biggest one, as you can see, between the readiness and in the importance of the job. So this is the index this importance index is unfortunately showing us that HR is not keeping up with the business needs, and especially because now we are more or less in let's say, a stable economic growth right now, because there is not so much crisis in the world at the current stage. And here you can see the HR capabilities gap that is showing us how much we are ready to deal with this issue. So this capability gap is representing actually the difference between our readiness and our need to do the change. So for example, if you have the index of readiness that it's like 50 and the importance that it's 80, you have the gap, it's minus 30. So that means that we are not filling the business needs that we should. And as you can see, we are not in any of these areas, we are not in the plus. I hope that this is not too negative from my side, that you will stay optimistic after my presentation. Okay, so these are 6 key findings in the end that are pretty encouraging, I hope. As you can see, the softer areas, as I mentioned, culture, engagement, leadership, and development, have become urgent priorities. And the organizations are quite aware that this is a big issue for us if we want to grow as organizations. But on the other side, the leadership team or HR leaders are not doing enough to deal with this. And this can be a huge issue, because organization needs something but don't understand how to cope with this issue, and especially with the millennials who are coming, and everything is becoming much complex. So leadership and learning, as I said, have dramatically increased importance, but the capability gap is widening. And if we look to the results of the study, you can see that only 6% of the companies have some plan about the developing leaders. Only 7% of them, they have a plan how to make leaders of millennials that are coming in the company, and only 10% of global companies have plan regarding the succession, that it's really working. HR organization and HR skills are not keeping up. Unfortunately, only 5% of business leaders said that HR in their organizations are working the excellent job. And 70% of them said that they need to rearrange how HR departments actually look like. HR technology systems, I think that we have never had so many tools that we can use in our companies. You know, we have like Taleo, HRIS, etc., etc. But the thing is that are we actually using these tools in a way that it's actually acceptable for what we need as outcome of the reporting line? And 6 from 10 companies, I think that they put in their plans that they will make a bigger budget for the next year in a way that they want to invest in HR technology systems. But the study shows that if we are not changing our processes and programs, how we are dealing with the HR issues, these technology systems are not going to help us in delivering everything else. Talent and people analytics. I'm sure that all of your GMs or CEOs are asking you the numbers, which is in a way quite difficult for us in HRs to deliver, of course, for some things, because return on investment is not so easy to calculate for each thing. But only 13% of business leaders is satisfied with the analytics that HR is actually providing. And 70% of them thinks that this is like the huge thing that they need. So they want to have much, much better and let's say more focused on business goals, results when we are presenting to them. And the least one, but not less important, is the simplification. It's the key word, as our business leaders are saying, that we need to simplify the things that we are working on. 72% of people said that their job is even complex or really complex. So these things that we need to think about our organizational structures. Are they good enough? Are they effective enough? And on the other side, I think that HR is doing some things that are quite good in this way, because we are simplifying the performance management. We are inventing some new way of approaching to the issues. For example, we have design thinking. It is one of them. I think that we are more approaching to the employer branding issues in a more creative and innovative way, where we are actually involving our marketing departments or external agencies and so on. So this is the short presentation of our reports. It contains 120 pages. There is a lot of insights inside regarding how you can deal with these kind of issues, and you have a lot of advice from perspective of some global leaders and how to cope with the competition. If you're interested, we can send you the report. It is free of charge. You can just approach me afterwards. We can talk about this. And also I want to take this opportunity to ask you if you would like to participate in the next year survey. It will be open until the end of October. You can just Google Deloitte Human Capital Trend Survey, or as I said, you can approach me, and the participation is as I said, free. The report that you're getting is free. I'm sure that you can find pretty interesting information inside of the report. And if you have any more difficult, let's say, HR issue, you can approach to our HR consulting team. That is, of course, charged, but I can promise you the good deal for that. Okay, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from Mia Pešić.